One of the tools that's really important for us to use in calibration is a known signal generator. What that gives us reference levels, so we're sure that what we're actually measuring is what is going to be on screen. So to do that, there's a lot of options out there. Pretty much all the options that are out there for signal pattern generators are going to be really good. We offer a G1. It's meant to be as accessible as possible, and there's a couple key components that I want to talk about. The first component of the pattern generator is that we need to know that it's going to give us trusted levels. So that means that if we request a specific pattern or a specific color, that it's going to output the correct RGB triplet to get that pattern on the screen. That way we can measure against that pattern, and CalMan knows what the target is, and we know that that's what's the signal that's actually being sent to the screen. That way the calibration can happen. If we don't have known values, if we have something that might or might not be accurate, we don't know if we're calibrating to accurate levels, and we might be making things worse. I have a recently calibrated TV here. What I'm going to do first is just take a series of readings with the G1 pattern generator. Okay, so on my screen you can see we're taking measurements. You can see that we have overall well-calibrated display. What I'm going to do afterwards is I'm going to switch to the HDMI output on my laptop, bring up a pattern window from CalMan. It might track well or it might not. I actually really don't know. One of the questions we get asked pretty frequently with calibration is, having a pattern generator is an additional cost. Can I just use the HDMI out on my laptop? And it's a pretty convincing thing to try and do. There are unfortunately a couple of big gotchas that we've seen before in the past and have caused issues where we don't know for certain what the RGB output is going to be exactly. There's chances that a Windows update has changed something on an HDMI port. There's chances that something is configured incorrectly. There are chances that there's additional profiles that could be being processed there. So really, we don't know for sure what specifically will come off the HDMI from a given HDMI port, and that's why it's important to have a known and trusted good source. Okay, so those readings are just about complete. What I'm going to do next is I am going to go ahead and just look and see what the output from my laptop looks like running the same set of data. Okay, so I've got a pattern window from CalMan here on my TV, and what I'm going to do is in CalMan I'm going to use the functionality of history tabs, which is kind of cool, to just create a second history tab, and we can then do a comparison of the same measurement data from our HDMI versus from our built-in pattern window. And I do want to make sure I'm using the same window size on there. Okay. I'm using the same HDMI cable. The only difference now is that I'm going out from the laptop as opposed to using a dedicated pattern generator. With that HDMI signal, I have not done any additional configuration. I did make sure that I'm using a 10% window, the same which I was using on the pattern generator. I have the meter in the same location. I haven't moved it at all, and it has the same profile information set up. I know that this TV was very recently calibrated, and the calibration results were looking excellent. And so as we go through, we would expect this to look like a perfectly calibrated display or a very excellently calibrated display. What I'm seeing right now instead, I have a noticeable blue shift. It visibly looks a little bit more blue. It's measurably more blue in CalMan for sure. And so we are seeing pretty high DE values already. That might be with how the TV is handling the signal coming from the laptop. That might be something that Windows processing is doing on my laptop. I'm not sure. But if I had calibrated the TV with this, I would not have a good calibrated picture mode at the end. Okay, and we're getting pretty close to completing those measurements. Again, what you can see on the screen here is that our red, green, and blue balance for our RGB balance We're looking pretty blue high. And then our colors are definitely not looking like they're fully calibrated anymore on our color checker chart. Again, I'm not sure what the processing is on the Windows side, whether it's Windows, whether it's how the TV is handling the incoming signal. I just know that what I'm getting out of the Windows HDMI output, unfortunately, is not accurate for calibration. Our G1 pattern generator is meant to make calibration tools as accessible and affordable as possible. We introduced it as a tool to provide a low-cost pattern generator that provides all the patterns you need to get through calibration. It does Dolby Vision output, it does HLG, it does HDR, it does SDR, and it's bit accurate. Again, the most important and critical thing for any pattern generator is to know that you have bit accurate patterns coming out. The G1 does that at as affordable a price point as we could put it at. I hope you found this information helpful. Again, what's important for calibration is knowing that we have a trusted good calibration source that can generate good patterns. The G1 is our current offering that we think is really intended to make that as accessible as possible. Pattern generators range in their capabilities and in their price. This is meant to be as user-friendly and as approachable as possible. If you need to find a good pattern generator for your calibrations, we have links in the description below to purchase the G1 on our website. Thanks very much, and I hope you found this helpful.